Not even going to ask my consent if you want to record this.
No, fuck you. Was that too harsh?
To record the audio and video. I always say that for social use.
Sure.
So I'm like, that's kind of my disclaimer. Like, you know, so that's, I don't, if I get on here, I'm like, oh, you're okay if I record this, right? Like, I already hit that with you. So
that's funny. Yeah, I definitely have thought about it. Definitely have.
What's going on?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me all right?
Oh, yeah. It's just super loud. So I'm trying to turn it down just to see here to about right there. Talk for me.
I hear some chickens going on. What's going on back there?
Dude, I was wondering if you were going to be able to hear it.
All I hear is...
Oh, they're so ridiculous today. I thought about chasing them out of the barn and just locking the door so they can't come in, but they're downstairs just going ape shit for some reason.
Wait, are you in your barn right now?
Yeah, I moved everything out to the barn again.
I like it. Dude, I like your little background there. It looks sweet.
It's smoke and mirrors because the other walls are just plywood and not finished, and that's okay. I've got plans to finish it. It just hasn't happened.
It's the beauty about podcasting and only having one camera angle. It's like, if you look at mine, I could say this isn't finished. Well, actually, it's a fucking mess over to my right, so we don't want to look over there.
What's it a mess of?
Just shit everywhere, dude. I've got fucking papers on the floor. My desk that I work at every day is a mess. Like, it's just, I need a deep clean.
I'll get to it. I'll get to it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I'll get to it.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. Again, I've got a stack of this wall paneling sitting right there. I was, the kids were, so upstairs above me is like a pool table and an air hockey table. And so then a bunch of kids were over yesterday, and I'm trying to work on a call, and they're upstairs playing pool, and the ball flies off, and I'm like, fuck, I got to get insulation in this ceiling because I can't have... It's only when I'm trying to do something do the kids decide they want to play pool for the first time all year.
Yeah.
But I don't want to discourage them from playing.
Right.
Ay. So what were you going to ask me last night?
I'll ask you off record.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. I won't use it against you.
No, it's no big deal.
It's fine.
Off the record.
Yeah. So how you been?
Good. Good. Just freaking... I mean, I sound like an old decrepit farmer just because the weather. I just want the wind to stop. I want it to be good. Like today, it's supposed to be 70, so that's good. Coaching my daughter's softball again this year, that started. We're in week. We start games next week, but we're in week 3 of practice. We got practice tonight, so
okay.
That's been a lot of fun. So,
do you feel like that's sort of a connection that you still have towards to sports?
100%. I told my wife this year, like, so when I was in college, my summers, I would go and coach like Pony League baseball and had a lot of fun doing that travel. And it was like travel team in the summer. And we won some tournaments and ended up losing like a state, like you get into the state tournament and everything. We made a good run in that. And like, I just loved coaching. And honestly, I didn't coach from then until last year,
Really?
getting back in with my daughter, but now I've got this hankering that I want to coach like middle school girls softball. Like
girls specifically.
Yeah. I would do boys. But and I don't want to sound arrogant or like egotistical or anything. Like I know the baseball game through and through. Yeah. Like they're like softball. I don't know through and through. Like it's a challenge. And I think there's a lot of similarities in the games of baseball and softball. But a lot of fundamentals as far as like pitching a softball. I don't know a ton about that. And I'm like diving in, learning more about it on my free time to be able to teach these girls. And selfishly, I want to do it because I want to coach a team that my daughter's not on, that she can just be at the field with me and help me.
Okay.
And kind of use that also as like a you know, you always hear about the coaches' kids, like they're always in the gym or they're always like, I kind of want that for her as well, you know? And I threw it out to my wife and she was like all for it. My daughter's all for it, but the community I'm in right now is not the community I grew up in. The community that I grew up in, like I could go ingest myself in there again. I know enough people to where, and I have like quote unquote credibility where I could like go and coach. Like I feel like there's these channels that you probably have to go through to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, who's this guy and why does he want to coach when he doesn't even have a kid that's like, this is kind of different, you know? So I really want to do that. It's like, honestly, right now, it's like all I'm thinking about, to be honest with you. Like, it won't happen this year, but my goal is to like next year. I have a lot to learn right now. I need to keep learning and then throw my hat in the ring next year. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I would love to be able to coach varsity softball or baseball at a high school. Like I would love it. I could be that guy that like, if you have success and I could do it for 20, 30 years. Like that's,
you know, what's funny is I have on my list of things to ask you, like, what is something you're really excited about right now? And I would say you just answered it preemptively without me even prompting you.
Yeah.
But I was curious, do you know if you can be a school coach without working at the school?
I believe you can.
Oh.
Before you couldn't. Like back when I was in school, I don't necessarily think you could.
Yeah.
But I believe you can now.
Okay.
I guess I don't really know that answer, but I know people that are not, or that I know people that are coaches in high schools that did not work at the high school that had off school jobs, and now they do work at the high school now. So I don't know.
Interesting. That's cool. That's really exciting. It's not totally not something, you know, and not to say that I like had this vision of you of a particular way, but I saw it going more in the outdoor space, which I guess it technically is. I just didn't see it going sports wise. The answer to the question I was going to ask you, that is. That's awesome, man.
For sure.
Very cool. Well, nice. I'm not going to do a formal intro if you can't tell. We're just going to talk.
No, that's fine.
I might record one later, but
there you go.
Not today.
Let's rip it.
Yeah, man. So, you know, I don't remember how this came up. I don't remember what I was reading. I don't remember what I was looking at, but I made a comment one day, and I think it was on my last podcast to Hunter, that I have this weird desire to go out and hunt, you know, alone, but also then sort of, return to somewhat of a camp. But at the camp, I don't drink anymore, and I don't smoke, and I go there, and when I go travel, like I was with DJ last year in Nebraska, like I don't mind staying up a little bit, but I also want to get up and I want to hunt super hard. And it's in my opinion, it's a weird place to be mentally. You said you had a hot take on that.
I did, and now I can't remember, because when I listened to that, I was listening to you and Hunter talk, and I'm like, I had something, and then I text you, or I called you, and I text you or something, and I'm like, I got a hot take.
And my power had just gone off from some storms, and I was like, sorry, man, I got power off, and my fridge is melting, and I got to like get this cord plugged in. I'm like, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
And now I cannot remember. I wish I would have listened again to that, because the way you worded it, it like triggered something, and it was about, I honestly can't answer. I apologize, but I will say, the hunting alone. So growing up, I always hunted with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I very much love hunting with someone.
Yeah.
Now, what I mean by that is I like having people at camp. I don't necessarily love having someone with me in the woods, like figuring it out. And like, that's when I kind of want to be alone. Now, there is something where the last couple of years I've had people filming me, or I've had people filming me in the past. And it takes a special person for me to be able to follow me, for me to like be okay with you following me, I should say. Now, last year I had Lewis Miller, super great kid, awesome behind the camera. I've got nothing bad to say about him. And this is not going against him, but like it got to the point where I think it didn't get to the point with him. It just got to the point in my own head that I'm like, I don't want to have to worry about anybody else or like, what are you doing? Or what do you have? And do you have everything? Let's go. I just want to go. Like, I just want to go. I don't want to have to rely on someone else. Perfect example, the deer that I ended up shooting last year was a weekend, and I had no time to call Lewis, hey, can you come film me? No, I like when you get into the moment like that, when you see a deer bedded with a doe and it's November 9th and it's like mid-morning, it's like you have to go. It's black or white. You do or you don't. And there's no other time. It's literally go. And to me, hunting is a lot that way. It doesn't like it's like we got to go. And the way my life is, if with my young daughter and stuff like that, it's like once she is at school or she is, I know she's taken care of. I go and I try to be as efficient. If I have an hour to go walk around, I try to walk as efficiently as I can for that hour, because once that hour is over and I have my daughter back with me or I have other priorities, then it's like you have to shut that off immediately. You have to, because if I don't shut it off, I'm not present with my daughter. I'm on the cellular unit too much. And it's like you have to compartmentalize so much. And so I try to be as efficient, and I guess I'm going to try to round this back. When I have somebody with me that I have to worry about, I don't want to say worry about, but like someone that
you have to account for them.
Yeah, you have to account for them.
Yeah.
That's when I feel like I'm not as on my game as I can be. Now, let's put it this way. That's a double-edged sword, because I'm going to pick on Lewis again. He's there to do a job. And I know that when it's all said and done with that trip, like Illinois, when I went back and edited the hunt from Illinois last year with DJ and myself, and Lewis was with me, and he filmed me the whole week. We had a blast, dude. And I went back and I was looking at the footage and editing it, and I'm like, I'm so glad he was there, because I wouldn't have got self-filming. I wouldn't have got half of what he got. So like, I get that there's a little bit of that, So like this year, if I draw Iowa, like Lewis is going to come with me again. But there's this little bit of me that's like, man, I just want to go. But then, fast forward a couple years from now, when I look back on my Iowa trip, however it unfolds, I want it to be portrayed the way I want it to be portrayed. And I got to have someone there. So it's like it's a weird give and take,
Yeah. So when you say, I just want to go, meaning just you, are you trying to say that emotion that you're putting out there is simply you only want to consider what your emotions are in the moment or is there something else? Because I think what I was trying to say to Hunter is I am seeking a personal challenge. I don't have that in my life anymore. I sit all day. I go to my kids' sporting events. I work out, but that's again, okay, so sort of that's me versus me, but there's nothing that I do that is a challenge as a man, as the most primitive primal sensation as a man, a hunter gatherer, is you have to feed your family. And so, I think that's in all of us. And so there's that part for me too. Like when I think of just me, I'm like you said, no phone. I mean, yes, my phone will be with me, but if you can be present in the moment, and like you said, you're not thinking about another person's emotions, you versus you, or you versus the deer in the woods, is as close to the most primal thing you can do, and I long for that.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: when you're saying that, I mean, you've been on. Like when you went to Illinois, 2 years ago and killed that giant, that was all you. That was you 1v1 with the deer.
Right.
Like you accomplished that. I guess, let me ask you this. Accomplishing that, and I'm sure you've accomplished it other times as well. What about that didn't fulfill your challenge.
Oh, no, it did.
That time.
It did. It's just that's what I want the challenge to be annually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to.
That makes sense.
I want to repeat that challenge, and or take it to another level, in the sense that new property, new terrain, at some point maybe a new species. I can't imagine not doing it for whitetail right now, but I think annually trying to seek out that most primal thing as much as possible, which is why I hunt Michigan and I'll hunt Ohio and I'll hunt Illinois, and I've applied for Kansas, which hopefully I'll draw again. Like, my first time going to Kansas when there's no cell service and you don't see a human being all day long was, I mean, it changed me. It changed my life. So I long for that.
Yeah. And to kind of, this might be off topic, or not off topic, but off kilter a little bit, to kind of go back to like hunting with someone, and I like guys in camp. Like last year when, DJ and I have been on some hunting trips together, and my favorite thing about travel hunting with a buddy is, okay, you come back to camp, you decipher over some beers or whatever it is, or over dinner. You look and you ask opinions. I love asking opinions. Nobody's opinion is greater than like mine. You know what I mean? Like, or I don't look at my opinion as being I'm better than you. Like, I want everything. I want all this information, and then I'm going to take it, because there's things that like I'm not great at hunting hills, and DJ does really good at hunting hills in my opinion, and he looks at things differently, and that's how I learn. So. But like when we break for the next day, like that's when I like to kind of go do it myself. Like I'm going to go. I'm just going to go. Like here, we practiced our playbook that night, and then we're going to execute the play. Maybe we established that that's what we were talking about earlier on, but I got so many things going through my head about that. Now, like, you do a lot on your own. When I see you on like scouting, like you're by yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of times when you go to Ohio or Illinois, like you're by yourself. So that is something that I have not really just like, hey, I'm just going to go scout by myself. The scouting for me is like a camaraderie thing. I want somebody with me when I scout. But when I hunt, it's a lone ranger mentality. Like what if you would you ever bring somebody with you scouting, or a buddy with you? Like, would that, that kind of goes against what you were trying to say, though, I think.
Not necessarily. I have invited my brother to go. And it's hard. It's one thing I have written down. Like when you get to our age and our place in life, it's incredibly difficult to sync up your schedule with people. And so I think a lot of times by default, I only have the ability to go by myself. If I want to go on this Thursday where there's literally nothing in my calendar, I got to go Thursday. I'll set my out of office message to go, up on my Outlook, and I'll just take off. But I realize a lot of guys cannot just take work off on Thursday. So it's not by necessarily by design. Especially I realized this year in the hills, I struggle. I struggle physically. And, I can find generic sign. I can even find some good sign. But man, it is, I'm spinning my wheels a lot, and I wouldn't mind spending some time with some people down there. Yeah, I'm not opposed to it.
For sure. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
No,
I think you asked something.
did. I just, you had said you had a hot take, and I thought maybe you remembered it, but that's okay. It's no big deal.
I can't remember what it was, and I apologize, because there was something that came to me, and I'm like, yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, I really enjoyed coming back to camp with the guys last year in Nebraska, and all of us having our own vehicles and spreading out in the morning and doing our thing all day long, and then we'd come back and we'd have dinner and we'd sit around and bullshit till midnight or whatever and do it all again the next day. That is huge. I get the sense that a ton of deer camps I wouldn't fit into. And I say that just because I'm not smoking and drinking and staying up late by the fire. I feel like an old man sometimes. And maybe that's just me assuming.
I think it is. Like, our deer camp is, kind of evolved as the older guys got a little older, and and my dad doesn't drink anymore. He hasn't drank in, I don't know, 10 years probably. And he was a guy that, he worked a factory job for a long time, then a contractor. And when he came home, like, he busted his ass. When he came home from a 10-12 hour day, there was going to be 3-4 Busch Lights every night that were drank. Like, that's just kind of how he unwound. I will say this, like, there's a lot of me that envies the people that don't drink. But like, I've toyed, like, last year when I really got into working out heavily at the first of the year, I didn't drink for 3 months. Well, not quite 3 months. Like, I may have had like a beer here and there.
Sure.
But like, I'm such a social person that I think drinking comes along with the socialness, and all my friends drink, all of them. And it's hard when you go somewhere, like, not that I go out all the time. I hardly ever go out to like a bar, but if you go out to a bar, like, you're not on the same level as a drunk person if you're not drinking. Like, it's just better when you're drinking, and I, like, right now, as we sit here, I'm 10 days not a drink, and it's deliberate. Like, I'm trying to, like, I've been doing this working out thing again and doing it pretty aggressively. And I get to a point where I reach a goal, but then I'm like, okay, where do I go from here? And drinking is, like, they always say, like, the worst calories are the ones that you drink. Like, I don't drink a lot. Trust me. I don't drink every day. I might drink, have a couple beers on a weekend, but like, if I take that and that's easy to get rid of, and then I take the soda and that's easy to get rid of, there's two kryptonites. I shouldn't say kryptonites. Soda's kryptonite. But if I take that, then those are those calories that, like, you're just that much healthier, because I don't eat crazy healthy, and I probably never will. Like, I'll never be the guy that does the carnivore diet. I'll never, like, I love Lay's potato chips too much, and so it's like, I take, what's the low hanging fruit that I could get rid of out of my life and really it not change? Well, drinking, like, alcohol and soda would be the ones. But like, then I turn around and it's like, you go to a bow shoot at a buddy's house and everybody's drinking, and like, God, the beer, like,
Yeah.
like, beer is, for a lot of people, is an acquired taste, and it is, but like a Busch Light or a Bud Light tastes so good to, like, drink on a warm day. It does,
I remember.
It's refreshing.
I remember. No,
How long have you been sober?
A couple of years, 2.5 years probably.
Just quit cold turkey?
I quit cold turkey. I started 75 hard one year, and that's part of it is no drinking, and I haven't had a drink since.
How does it make you feel when you go to somewhere where it's a social event and people are drinking and you're not?
All of my first times after not drinking was nerve-wracking. So the first New Year's, the first hunt camp, hunting season, the first birthday party, the first pool season, like, all of that was very nerve-wracking for nothing. Nobody cares. And I've had that conversation with somebody else, one of the dads on from my son's hockey team. He did 75 hard. He also quit drinking, and he's an owner of a company, and he does a lot of trade shows down in Florida. And he was, there's a lot of cocktails involved, and a lot of schmoozing and handshaking and scotch and doing business deals over cocktails. He's like, I don't think I can do it. And he came to me the other day and he goes, you know what? You were right all along. He said, I spent the whole entire weekend in Tampa at a trade show and only drank tonic water, and nobody said a word. And the reality is, most people are only thinking about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What do I look like? What am I drinking? What do I have? What am I wearing? What does my hair look like? Most people are really only thinking about themselves. So honestly, we're all in our own heads as far as the social aspect of it. I'll drink a water bottle or lemonade. Like, that's all I have.
So I tested this theory, and I've never told anybody this, not even my buddies. Last year, one of my close friends had a diaper party. Okay. All of my buddies were there. And it was a barbecue, fish fry, beautiful day. I mean, out by the pole barn, just listen to music, drinking beer, and bullshitting. That's what gets guys going. That's literally that simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I told myself, I'm like, I'm not gonna drink. Like I didn't, I've been fighting this. I've been fighting this thing. This is probably not where you wanted to go with this podcast either.
I don't have
like
any,
hijacking
it's totally
your podcast.
random, just random today.
So I said I'm gonna test something. Okay. And if you know me, I do not drink mixed drinks ever. Ever. And if I do, it's very rare. Very rare. Like I'm a beer drinker. And because I don't like liquor at all. And so I went to this diaper party. I took so I love unsweetened iced tea. Love it. So I brought a cooler and I had like 2 jugs of unsweetened iced tea, and I just took like a Yeti with a top on it and ice in it. And I'm like, I'm just gonna drink that. And so at face value, it looks like I'm drinking a mixie all night because that's what guys do. Is you usually put it in a Yeti or something like that. Not one person, not all my buddies that I said were like, oh, you're drinking mixed drinks or what are you drinking? Not one. Everybody just thought, we were bullshitting. I still had a good time. I drank cold, unsweetened iced tea on a summer day and came back home, went to bed, felt great, got up the next morning and I had my day. And I'm like, wow, not one person asked me, oh, you're drinking, because everybody that knows me knows I don't drink mixed drinks. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you're right.
Just an interesting.
It's in your own head.
It's a societal norm that was created a long time ago, and everyone's just been living by it. We're not going to talk about drinking. We're not going to talk about staying dry the whole time. I promise.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy just having these random conversations with people.
Yeah.
So
it is something I'm going to see how far or how long. I got to set a goal for myself. Okay, let's try a month.
Yeah.
Let's try a month, and then the thing is the cool thing. You stay working out, and it's like the weight falls off you, and it's like, holy shit, like I lost 15 pounds in 30 days. Like what? And then it's like, well, it's because you didn't put that stupid calorie shit in your mouth or in your system.
Mm-hmm. For sure, man. For sure. We're gonna switching it up. I can't remember what I was looking at the other day, but do you spend a lot of time on social media?
I mean, I do way too much fucking time.
Yeah.
I do.
A lot of people think that you need to be sort of engaged in counter arguments. So maybe somebody that doesn't necessarily see eye to eye with you, that you need to be willing to listen to both sides, and you need to engage with counter arguments to have educated discussions. And it got me thinking that fuck that. And I just want to get your take on that, because the whole reason that I am on social media is like a distraction. It's a disconnect from my already full of stressors. Why shouldn't I curate my feed to only be things that I want? If I have a bunch of people who are posting shit that pisses me off, why wouldn't I just unfollow or unfriend them and then only, yes, I'm living in an echo chamber, but isn't that what it's all about anyway? I'm not on there to be a better human. I'm on there to de-stress and have fun.
It's all it is entertainment.
Yes.
And I agree with you. There's times where I really want to spout off to someone, but I'm like, why do it on an app? It's so crazy. And when I see people calling other people out and it's like, and then you get the people who are like, yeah, show them, they need to be humbled. No, humble him to his face then if you got the nuts to do it. There's so much bad in it, and I hate it because I'm addicted to it. And I'm addicted to social media, and the reason why is because, before I started my podcast, I had an Instagram, really wasn't that active on it. I didn't have Facebook. And then, once you do the podcast and, you have something like that it's it's a free necessary evil. It's a good way to get your podcast stuff out there. But every week when I post a reel about, hey, new podcast this Tuesday, I hate it. I hate it. Like, everybody and their brother out there does it, does the same things. It's like a necessary evil thing. I hate it. You know, and I do get sucked into it. Like right now I'm shooting a recurve. I'm doing these cold shot things, and it's kind of fun for me. It like kind of holds me accountable. Like I wasn't going to do it every day. Now I'm a couple days in and people are like, a lot of people are like DMing me like, dude, like this is awesome. Like keep going. So now I'm like sucked in, you know, but I agree with you. Like I'm not going to engage with someone that's got a differing opinion. Cause guess what? When I do that, then I think it starts skewing my, I guess, my take on something as well. And you could say like, oh, you're just set in your ways. Well, I am. Like, I know what works for me. I know what I think is good. And why have an argument, a virtual argument over someone, over line, someone that you probably never met?
Yeah.
And even if you have met, like, why ruin your day that way? There's so many factors in everybody's day to be anxiety or to have anxiety or stress. Why do that? Like, why just engage with like invite more of that shit into your life through your virtual reality phone? You know what I mean?
100%. I've been sucked in, and it's sometimes I'm like burning on the inside because I want to just argue with somebody, but then I don't, obviously, and I've moved on. But I wonder, do you think that you could realistically be as successful as you are with the podcast and not be the actual personality behind the post? What I mean is there are companies that you could pay a nominal fee to do your social media marketing. And I've had this conversation with my wife about getting off of social media. And my argument is always, I am my brand, me, only me. Nobody's brain works like mine. Maybe my brother's very similarly, but the wording, the punctuation in the sentences, the tone, the thought process, the timing is all me. And if I were to pay somebody else to just push my content out, in my opinion, it completely will lose its value. Not that there's a ton of value anyway, but it will lose its value entirely. Do you agree with that?
100%. Because if your personality and how you are and your sense of humor is what I love the most about you. You have this sense of humor that is just hilarious.
Thank you.
And the moment that I see a post that comes from you that just doesn't sound like you, I'm like, that doesn't add up. Now, the moment I put a post out and it's got perfect grammar and punctuation, people are gonna be like, that Aaron's not posting that, because I am terrible grammar, like absolutely terrible. I didn't pay attention to English class. I have no fucking clue. My wife's always like, because she's really good at it, and she's like, I really wish you would have showed me that before you posted that. And I'm like,
oh my God,
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't, people know what I'm talking about. And if you're going to,
yes,
here it is, back to this. If you're going to sit there and be like, oh, Aaron forgot a comma there, that's a really like a crazy run on sentence. It's like, no, you're the fucking
you're
problem.
a fucking loser.
Why? Like, it's, we're in the world that like we text with IDC for I don't care.
Yeah.
Or how are you, the letter U, doing instead of saying YOU.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're the problem. You know what that is, Brett? That is people being jealous of you because they're trying to figure out how to put you down and like, oh, you didn't use punctuation there. Like he's really like he's a dumbass. Well, okay. Like it sounds like you're just jealous of something else. Like tell me what else is gonna freaking get under your skin today on a Tuesday, and my post is the one that's gonna get you under your skin. Like
see, this,
you know
right
what I mean?
Here, this exact thing is the whole reason why I would be willing to leave social media. Like that right there, that person is your neighbor. It's somebody you walk past those people at Kroger. They are constantly around you, but nobody ever says anything to your face. And that's how it used to be back in the day. And I can't possibly explain that enough to my children. You will never get to grow up in a world where there was no internet or social media. Like and I feel terrible. and there's nothing I can do about it except keep them off it as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, it like, you are your brand. I am my brand. And I just, as much as I would love to have somebody, to pay somebody $20 a month to just push my content out with some generic words, what's the fucking point at that after that?
I agree. And all it is people jealous and envious of. It's the, what's the word? Oh God, it's, must be nice people.
Oh yeah.
Like, must be nice. You have this, like, and we could go down a freaking way rabbit hole with must be nice people. And I know a ton of people look at me and me must be nice. Like, I've got buddies that, like, we're jokingly, it's like we always give each other shit. And it's like, dude, I don't know the last time I actually had to pay for a piece of hunting gear because of what I do. But guess what? I went to college for television, digital media productions to be in the hunting world. Ever since 2012, when I got hired professionally to do what I do, I've gotten a lot of free shit. And I still do. Mm-hmm. Now, there are things I do pay for, but majority of it is free. And it's like, I always get that must be nice vibe. And it's like, dude, like, you didn't have to go to school for... First of all, I have buddies that didn't go to school. It's like, you didn't have to go right into the workforce. You didn't have... Like, I actually worked my ass off to get to this, and it's like a perk of the job. But guess what? At the end of the year, I don't get bonuses. I got a buddy that got a bonus, works for a high-end, trade company, got a bonus more than what I make a year. What do you think I'd rather have? But guess what? He's out on a job site right now, project manager, and makes a ton of money. I'm pretty lenient, get to go, and he doesn't travel to hunt. I can travel to hunt. I can do this. So it's like, you have to weigh your happiness. Is it the money, or is it like the time and the freedom that you get? So I can be like, must be nice to get a bonus that's, almost six figures. Like, that's cool. Must be nice. I don't ever say that though. Like,
yeah. Well, they just said it earlier when I was like, yeah, I can set my out of office on a Thursday and go scouting for an entire day in Ohio. It's the same people. It's the same people that are only thinking of themselves.
Yeah.
They cannot see past what you went through to do that, or what I do so that I can do what I do as well. And I'm not complaining. I know I have it good. Anyway, just that was my social media rant.
Yeah, I will say, I got a question for you. I've got the last couple years, I shouldn't say the last couple, it actually just happened probably a year ago, had some stuff go down, and I'm not going to get into the weeds but it was hunting related with other people. And, there's always like the hearsay, and then you hear from a source that's a really good source of, like, some things were said, and I know I'm being very vague, but it's like, I get to the point where, like, the saying goes, people live rent free in your head, kind of thing right now. And, I've fought with that over years of, like, different things. It's like, you think about that, or you think about that person, you think about, like, what they're thinking about you, or, like, and I'm to the point now where I got to work on it every day, but it's like, if you're not jiving with what I'm jiving with, then fuck you. Like, that's your deal. This is my deal. I'm going to do me, you do you, and stay out of my way. Like that, I'm kind of become almost more of like a dick mentality when it comes to that, because I'm just not here for it anymore. I'm not, you stay in your lane, I'll stay in my lane. Don't talk about me. I won't talk about you. And here we go. This is how I feel about you, and that's how you feel about me. Great. Have a good day. Like, I have to shut things off. There is no medium ground with me. There is rip the Band-Aid off. I am either in or I'm out, black or white. That's how it is. You're there and you're out. And that's how I go. And it's, if there's medium ground, or if there's anything in between, that's when things get weird, and that's when it lives inside you, and it just like bores holes, and you just like, then you become evil. It's like, hey, how's so-and-so? And you're like, oh, that guy's a fucking dickhead. Like, and then you start talking shit behind their back, and I'm like, okay, wait, I'm I am like getting sucked back into that. And I don't want to do that. I want to be a good person, but it's like, you're in, you're out. That's black and white with me. So
that's, I think what we're trying, what's coming out right now is an illustration of how, as you grow older and more experienced, your circle shrinks. Mm-hmm. Your friend circle either stops expanding and really focuses in on people that matter to you. Even that could be your family relationships may shrink, and you only see people that love you back, or you stop seeking new friendships. Now, I don't necessarily think that that's a great idea, because I have made are one of them, some really great friends over the last couple of years, through social media, which we just got done bashing. But I think what we're trying to say is, the older you get, the smaller your circle gets.
100%. And the more you recognize who should be in your circle, like you sniff that stuff out if they should or shouldn't be really, really soon.
Yes.
And it's, I don't know about you, but like I'm a birds of a feather flock together type of guy. So like, there are people when I look at, and I know, if I know person A and I really know how they are, and I'm like, okay, that guy's kind of shady. If you flock with him, you're immediately into that, like, until I'm shown otherwise.
100%.
Like, and I'm the same way with my friend group. Like, if you're a good buddy of mine, like, you probably flock together with me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say I let you in, but it's like I get gravitated to you because I like respect you, and you have a lot of the same values and the same views that I do. Is like, so I'm kind of birds of a feather flock together is very true for me.
100%, man. 100%. It's interesting. We're different ages, but not super far apart. And recently I went to the very latest NRC DNR meeting.
Yes.
In Lansing. Did you know that?
I did. Yep. I've been following along. I've been following along with that.
Have you ever thought about going?
Went. Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been thinking about going. I don't want to get too political with it because, not gonna lie to you, like, for me, and this is me putting on my hat that is like so tunnel vision. When I hear a politics, doesn't matter what it is on social media, I immediately flip the other way.
Oh,
like,
yes.
I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to, I don't want to say I'm the person that's like, my vote doesn't count, because I vote. I very much go vote.
Yeah.
And because it does count. I do get that. I think it's me being more uneducated, but there's a barrier that I don't even trust me. Michigan hunting and the whitetails in Michigan are very much on the forefront of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel like, I'm not saying my way is the best way, but I don't feel like a lot of people swing the same bat I do, so I don't speak up.
That makes total sense. Go ahead.
I feel like the state is going in a direction, even with the talks. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Even with the talks of what what they're wanting, like, I just still don't think it's the right direction.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna, because just as much as your opinion can help you, it can hurt you 10 times more.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm kind of playing that, like, I'm going to play in the abyss here and just kind of see how things unfold, when really I should probably be helping out with my platform. But I also think my platform wasn't built on politics and built on, what you and I are talking about. So if I immediately start kind of like, I don't mean to throw shade at anybody, but like Mark Kenyon was built on something that he is not now. And it is totally, I think Mark's a great guy, but like, I don't listen to Wired to Hunt because it is all politics and it is all public land, and we got to save our public land and we got to do this. And it's like, that is great that you're passionate about that. But like, I'll bet you get down to brass tacks, I'll bet you he lost a lot of listeners when all that stuff started going down. And I just, if I start doing that on my platform, people will just start fading away. I know it, because I know my audience through and through. I do.
Right. I agree with you. I too have not listened since it all started. I haven't listened. It used to be in my constant rotation, and it is not anymore. I am strictly watching Kevin Vistenson, and their competing arguments via social media. That's all I'm paying attention to. Yeah, I hear you.
Which that right there, I know that needs to get taken face to face. He needs to get off social media with that.
I think he wants to.
Well, I know, but like, that's one of those things that I'm like, come on. Like, really? Like, I get, like, I'm on your side, like with Kevin. Like, I agree with your points, but like, go to him for it. Don't like, whatever.
That's funny. No, that's okay. I was just gonna say that I was really, really glad that I went. And I think if you've ever been on the fence about going, I would encourage you to go just to see the process, just to see how it goes. I mean, I know you can watch the videos. They're recorded. I don't know if they're live or if they're just recorded. You can watch. I was fascinated with how many people showed up. I was fascinated with the process by which they have scientists with the DNR and who are studying and what they're studying and how long they've been studying it and some of their findings, and the average age group of Michigan hunters, which I was unaware how old they are. I didn't believe it. If you would have told me that before I saw the data, I wouldn't have believed that they're as old as they say that they are.
What'd they say? I didn't even hear.
I forgot to write it down. I'll find it here.
I'm gonna guess it's probably mid-50s.
Let's see here.
I have really thought about going. I think the last one that they had, I think that day I was actually out of town, so that's why I kind of wrote it off in a way. Yeah. I need to go, like you said, just to kind of see how it all unfolds.
Yeah.
But, and the other thing is, I don't know if with all the information coming out, I mean, has anybody really even identified what the major issue is in our state? Like, do we know what the major issue is?
Yeah. In my opinion, they do. I didn't take the notes as correctly as I thought they did, but I found what I was looking for. The age group of 50 to 80 was the highest age group that agreed that the youth should be restricted to an antlerless only tag, which I suppose I could have figured that out. But I thought I had a data in there that actually showed the average age of the hunter. It is 50 plus, if I'm not mistaken.
And it's they agreed that the youth should be restricted.
Yes, that is the age group.
Only shooting does.
That is correct. And I probably could have figured that out by my own. But anyway, they did show that there. In my assessment, now I did not stay until the speaking segment. I did not plan my day accordingly. I didn't know it went all day. I thought I was going to be kind of short. In my opinion, the NRC and the DNR do not like each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that's just shocking that you have two agencies who think they're in charge trying to work together, neither one of them wanting to concede to the other one. It sounded to me like we all agree that there needs to be some sort of an education to the Michigan hunter on how to balance the herd correctly. But nobody has made it clear how that's going to happen. The NRC says to the DNR, what's your plan for providing education to the citizens of Michigan on how to balance the deer herd? And the DNR's response is, we don't know yet. And so I think that's our biggest hurdle right now.
But let me ask you this. Doesn't the NRC, aren't they the ones that steer the boat? That's my thought. They're specialists. Right? Like the NRC, to my understanding, was they were sitting at the king chair.
Mm-hmm.
And then the DNR is a funnel down to disperse what the NRC wants.
I thought maybe, but I was thinking of it more like the DNR was funneling up to the NRC what scientists recommended and the citizens wanted. And then the NRC would take the information
I see what you're saying.
and, use it they would do some sort of a mathematical equation in their brain with all of their decades of experience with wildlife management and resource conservation, and they would make a decision that, taking all that information, and that was the best for the state. And I think what's happening is they're all digging their heels and going, "No, you tell me what to do," and the other one says, "No, you tell me what to do," and nobody's doing anything.
It's like the old saying, you. How is it, like, you can't respect someone that doesn't respect themselves?
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, somebody pull your big girl pants up and take control, and like, but nobody wants to, because who's the guy over in PA that did like the APR or did the $1 or something like that? He almost got like killed in public, because he was the guy that was like, we need to do this and we're doing this. And now look, it's flourishing over there. And that was how many years ago?
Yeah.
That guy got so many death threats and whatever.
I didn't know
Nobody
that.
wants to be. What's that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's some stuff. It was years ago. The guy, and I really wish I had more of my ducks in a row. But as the story vaguely goes, is like this guy had, was like APR. We need to do an APR or whatever it was, and he was able to implement it. Like, in there, like, it was not good, but now it's flourishing. Like, people love it over there. So I don't know. To me, it just sounds like there isn't a problem that's identified, other than, if you ask me, if somebody was like, what is your take on it? Like, the problem I feel like I get thrown around a lot is we're losing hunters, which I don't know if it is a problem. Is it a problem? I don't know if that's a problem or not. Like, I can kind of go both ways on that. We're losing hunters. There's too many deer on the landscape. There's too many car deer accidents. And then you got like the hunters saying there aren't big enough deer, there aren't, higher age class deer, and the use can't. It's like, what are the problems? Like, let's identify them. What's the lowest hole in the bucket? If it's too many deer in the landscape, then let's figure that out first. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, start throwing ideas out. Like, where are we at? And I don't know, like, then, the CWD stuff or the EHD or whatever is thrown in there. And I'm like, you kind of need, in my opinion, you need to forget about that. Like, forget about it. Like, it's here.
But that's how they justify their paycheck. If you start, like, I took a bunch, there was a whole presentation on CWD and TB up in that TB zone. Fascinating shit. Like, they're talking about, actually, they did. I'm pretty sure they did, or they've got it approved to do, vaccinate the deer with vaccination pellets against TB. Like, what the fuck, man? Anyway, like, the CWD, like, that's how they justify their jobs. If they're perpetually doing studies and they never come to a conclusion, then they will work on those studies for the duration of their tenure. They will retire not having done anything. Yeah. And so if you think about it's
job security,
baby. All of that shit, the TB testing, the fucking CWD, the EHD, and they're concerned that, they never talk about it just being natural and shit just working itself out. The whole basis of the conversation over there was, how do we control it? How do
as hunters,
as human beings? And, the reality is no one ever talks about urban sprawl and how our cities have pushed out into the urban areas, and we've pushed deer and we've reduced their feeding grounds to smaller, more concise areas for them to pass diseases. Whereas when they were able to spread out more, they never talk about that it's our fault to begin with. All they're talking about is, how do we fix it? So just fucking leave it alone, man. It'll work itself out.
It will. Like, it's been shown in the past with, I'm not saying directly with deer, but Mother Nature has a way of working itself out. And I get it. There is concern of it being transmitted to humans. Like, I understand that. Okay, so educate the humans on what to look for when they are field dressing a deer, or here's some things to look for to know if you're Like, you can't tell me that, like, there aren't some touch points to be able to look at a deer when, like, because wasn't it TB, like, when you, like, it's got bumps on the rib cage or something like that.
It's very visible. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, now maybe there isn't some touch points that, you know, you can tell if a deer has CWD or EHD or whatever. I don't know. We don't know because nobody can tell us. So, like, figure out that solution. Don't figure out how to eradicate all the deer. Like, you know, I guess we do need a balanced herd. So for me, the way to balance the herd is, you know what? You should probably bring back baiting. You should probably, you know, I'm a little biased on the old gun season. That's 28 days long, but like, you know, I don't know. I'm not saying I have the answers, but there are some things that you can do that I feel like that you can control and change in the interim, you know, quickly, rather than trying to figure out how to appease Farm Bureau and how many car deer accidents there are. And like, that's who's driving this whole damn ship, is all these insurance companies, because they're worried about all the, you know, I get it. I'm not in the insurance game, but I get it. You know, you got a lot of money being thrown out there, but like, okay, like, there's got to be other solutions. Talk to other states. Like, why, you know, maybe it's because we're not ingested in any other states, but like, go talk to Wisconsin. Like, why aren't, you know, are they having the same issues with Farm Bureau and like their insurance companies as PA, as Illinois, as Iowa? I don't know. Like,
yeah,
we're a high populated state. Like, go talk to other people and get some, and they probably are, but I don't know. I just feel like they're worried more about the things that aren't that big a deal rather than trying to stop the flow of the water coming out the bottom of the bucket, which I don't know if anybody knows what that problem is. That's what I'm saying. Figure out what the problem is first.
Yeah, I thought I had some notes in there about CWD. If I remember correctly, it is not that what they discussed was that there are so many states working on a solution to CWD, and nobody has the answer. Nobody has an idea. Nobody has any
I don't
clue.
think anybody will ever have an answer.
No. Exactly. It's job security.
And to our knowledge, nothing has ever been there's been people out there that have ate an EHD or a CWD positive deer not knowing it.
100%.
Shit, you and I could have been one of them.
I'm sure I was.
So it's like, what are we doing here? There's not one case that we know that somebody's died because of that. Like, not saying to like just, you know, back burner it and don't forget about it, but like, you guys are, you know, it's politics at its finest. Like, the job security is there. They know that feeds their family. Go fucking figure out something else.
Move on. Yeah.
Move on from it.
That's indicative of government, period. I mean, I think, again, I know you said you didn't want to get political, but I'm going to do it. You can avoid to comment on this if you feel like it. But with Doge in the United States government uncovering all of the fraud and the mismanagement of all of this money and all of this unnecessary spending, this is a prime example. This perpetual testing. I have in there 30 years of TB testing up north in the TB area. Like 360,000 deer have been tested in 30 years, and just barely over 1,000 deer have ever tested positive for TB. 30 years, 30 fucking years, and only 1,000 deer have ever tested having. It seems like that's something you could just move on from, and it's all in the cattle area.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's just indicative of government-run agencies, period. Let's stretch this out as long as possible, get as much money from the taxpayers as possible, and never fucking do anything.
Let me ask you this, and I don't know if this is something you know, but like, staying on the political side, I guess, but is like the NRC pro like left or right, and is the DNR pro left or right? Because it almost seems like a battle of like, what side of the fence do you lay on? Because what if ultimately the DNR and the NRC are fighting for some of the same things, why aren't they coming together? Like, why is someone? I don't understand why they're fighting like brothers and sisters. Why not unite like best friends and try to figure out something for the greater good? Because once Michigan starts flourishing, then they're going to look both at the DNR and the NRC and be like, man, it happened because of you guys. Thank you for really gritting your teeth and coming together and figuring it out. It almost sounds like the left and the right are fighting.
Yeah, it was not, in my opinion, again, I didn't stick around for the public comment section, but for the first half up until lunchtime, I did not get an impression of a political leaning one way or the other. It was all matter of fact. It was all science-based discussion, and then a little bit of back and forth with some questioning. There was no obvious political leaning one way or the other. Now, they're appointed by the governor, so I mean,
they're pro left, probably.
I would say they're probably a little bit that way anyway. One of the grossest comments, and I hate to say it, but the guy seemed like a good guy from the NRC. The DNR went into discussion about like a new advisory. They tried the DMI, the Deer Management Initiative or whatever, and that absolved. And then they started another advisory, an up north one and a downstate one. And they held like a Zoom meeting or something, their first Zoom meeting. And one of the guys from the NRC attended. And he made it very clear at the NRC meeting, last couple weeks ago or whatever, that he was made to feel unwelcome and that he was not allowed to be there. He had no comment on the context of the meeting or what that advisory board was going to be discussing. His feelings were hurt because he was not included and didn't feel welcome. So that right there shows where the DNR and the NRC are at. They don't like each other.
And it's what sucks, Brett, is nothing is going to get resolved until they can be friends.
Right.
Until the DNR and the NRC, actually, you don't even need to be friends. Just find common ground for the greater of the state, not for your like political agenda, not for your feelings. I don't give a shit. If there's a big issue in this state, I would think you would come together and put your differences aside to figure it the hell out.
Right. Yep.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like, and somebody should probably get in front of the NRC or the DNR, whoever's there, and just literally say that. You guys are fighting like brothers and sisters right now. Figure it the fuck out.
Yeah. I am on the fence about going to the next meeting. I don't know if I would speak, just because I'm still trying to figure out what's going on there. Like what are the real motives? And I'm trying to do that by just watching the people in the crowd, watching the body language of the NRC, watching the body language of the DNR folks, the scientists, looking at the data. I'm really just trying to get a sense of what's going on there. And so I don't know that I would speak because I think, like you said, I would be too uneducated on the majority of those topics, and I would be strictly speaking from emotion. And I'm not prepared to do that, but I do recommend people go because I do think it's interesting.
I'm the same way. But again, I don't think you and I are educated enough as we say that because we don't really know what is we don't know the issues. I feel like there's just a whole bunch of ping pong balls rolling around in a bucket. And it's like, these are all issues. And it's like, I get it, but what's the ones that are like, let's nail them off one at a time here. Cause I hear a lot of different things, and I would be speaking from something that is my opinion from where, like, kind of a selfish thing. Yeah. It's not that it's not great or good for the whole state of Michigan. It would be. Like, I really physically think it would be, but it would get shot down so fast because there's so many other ping pong balls that they're trying to appease in one swing.
Right.
So, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I would like to go just to kind of see, listen, and, kind of see how it all works. And maybe I might be swinging a different bat after I go.
Yeah.
And
Josh Arbogast, said the other day, it was really nice to see, or actually somebody told him it was nice to see a younger generation there speaking up. I think I think some of them, even if they have different opinions than you and I and some other guys our age, they feel like nobody has the nuts to speak up. Like it's just their generation, the greatest generation, the 60s and 70-year-old guys. And they were very appreciative to see some 30 and 40-year-olds there voicing their opinions as well. Even if they're not the same. They were happy to see that.
I have a hot take, and I might get, publicly executed for this or something. I don't know. But like when you said that the 50 to 80-year-olds are the ones that are like against youth shooting bucks, it did not surprise me at all.
No,
not at all. Because I still think, and this is going to hurt the older age class, but older age demographic, there is tons of older age people that are set in their ways that didn't grow up with the youth hunt. Okay. So when the youth hunt got brought on, that took an opportunity away from them.
Yeah.
Number one. And the other thing is a lot of those people are still seeking out their quote unquote giant buck.
Yeah.
Because, they grew up in a time where, my dad, my father-in-law, my grandpas, like they grew up when there was no deer around here. And then they didn't shoot does because there wasn't a ton of them. So they shot whatever buck they could. And that's how the old, I got my buck, I tagged out saying came about. And it just was passed down from generation to generation. So I hate saying it until that torch is passed, that's going to be that. It's going to be that way.
Yeah.
Do I care if you shoot a buck or not? I really, at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me if they do or they don't. Yeah. Like, I do think that kids are too young shooting deer. I will say, like, when you've got to get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Like, why? Like, and that's just coming from me. When I was that age, I wasn't ready to hunt, and I grew up in it. But also, like, you couldn't youth hunt until what? I think you had to be 12.
Yeah.
I think it was, or something like that. But there was no crossbows back then either. And there was no 350 Legends back then either.
Right.
Like, and so, I could have hunted the youth hunt, but my dad would not let me. I'm not against the youth hunt, but yeah, I don't think the younger ones, like, I think there should be an age on it. And maybe that age is 9, maybe it is 10. I don't know, but like 5 and 6-year-old going, like, shooting bucks that it took me 30 years to accomplish. Like, yeah, I'm a little not butthurt, but I'm like, come on,
Yeah,
like,
I totally agree, man. The last political thing I'm going to say is that one of the facts that I wrote down because I thought it was interesting is that the DNR sent out over 93,000 surveys last year. Have you ever gotten a survey in the mail from them?
When did I get one? 2 years ago. It was the first one I've ever gotten.
I don't know if I opted out or something. I don't get them, or maybe I did. Maybe like you said, I got them once.
My wife got one last year. Never went a field. Well, she did. She rifle hunted 2 days.
My son,
my wife got one.
Yeah, my son gets them. So last year they sent out over 93,000 surveys, and only 6,000 people returned them.
Mm-hmm.
So that percentage in and of itself, if you want your voice heard, if you want data to be the most accurate, my word to you folks, the citizens of Michigan, is if you get a survey, it's going to take you 5 minutes. It's in a postage paid envelope. Just fill it out, put it back in the mail, and that way that the data that they're presenting is as accurate as possible.
Yeah, I agree. And everyone, like, my wife got, and then I got, yes. She's like, do I fill this out? I'm like, 100% you fill that out. And it goes back. I think a couple years ago, they did one on Facebook. The DMI maybe did one or put one out. I filled that one out. I put even in the comment section, this is what I think, some rule changes should be. Like, I wrote a dissertation in there. Like, I'm all for that, but I I think the snail mail way is not the way. Like,
doesn't need to be, for sure.
no, everybody's got a cellular device, and we have an app now that you can buy your tags from, you register your deer on, hit them with that. And guess what? Because, working with Latitude, we sent out a lot of SMS texts for, hey, product on sale, or email blast. It's no different than that.
Right.
It's no different than that. Send an email blast, send an SMS text. It costs a little bit of money, but it's not going to break the bank.
No.
And take the survey, boom, right there. And then you can send it to literally every hunter that owns a cell phone in the state of Michigan.
100%, man. I totally agree. And the same conversation I had with Matt Lear, when you go to Illinois and you hunt on state land, you have to have a window placard. You have to print off a physical piece of paper like it's 1984 and handwrite in your fucking data. Fuck that. Put it right on your damn website, your DNR website. Get an app like Kansas or Nebraska has. Get an app so that we can download it and you can just literally check in to the state land that you went to like it's 2025 and you can fill in how many animals you witnessed that day or how many animals you harvested in the season. And you don't have to stress about having it turned in by February 15th, because if you don't turn it in by February 15th, you can't hunt there the next year.
I know. I was just going to say, when I filled mine out from last year, so I asked the lady specifically, do I have to fill this out every day? And she's like, well, just keep track and then you can fill it out when your hunt's over. I'm like, okay. But when I went and read that thing, I'm glad I did it, because it said in bold letters at the bottom, basically, if you do not fill this out, you do not hunt public ground in Illinois next year.
Well, you can hunt public ground, just not that one.
Well, right. Yes. Yeah. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay. That hit home. Daddy's going to fill it out right now. Like,
yeah. Again, how ridiculous is it that everything is automated? Like, you call in when you shoot a deer in Illinois, you have to call it in. Why doesn't that
Ohio's
count?
The same way.
Why doesn't that count for checking in your deer? You're telling it, I shot this deer in this county. If it's on state land, you're identifying that on the phone. Why doesn't that count? It makes you choose the state park. I know, because I did it. When you shoot a deer on state land in Illinois, it's county, and then it says these are the state parks in that area. 1 for X, 1 for Y, 1 for Z, 2 for Z, whatever. That should count. Not the paper. It's so antiquated.
How about you on the tag, the physical tag, when you find the deer, you have to measure. It's got a measuring tape on it. Don't you have to measure? What is it that you have to measure again?
The distance from the nose to the eye, the gland on the eye.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, that's what I do for my taxidermist, but why does the state of Illinois need that?
Are they estimating the average deer age harvest in that area based on that information? How skewed is that data?
How many people aren't registering their deer?
Yeah. Yes. How many people so somebody shot a deer. This is so bizarre. I don't know if I've told anybody this other than the other guy that hunts at that state land. I caught a guy shooting a deer on my trail camera last year. How random is that?
That is random.
So I'm flipping through my card and I never saw it on my cell phone, but when I went through the card, I saw there's 2 guys. One guy's crouched and he was drawn back in one picture and he is not drawn back in the second picture, and the deer is running in front of the camera. Anyway, shortly after that, this other guy that I know that hunts out there found a headless deer right by that camera. So that guy shot a buck, a good buck, right there on state land, dumped the body, and took the head. You think that guy called that in?
No, not at all.
Fuck no. If he's ignorant enough to just cut the head off a buck and just walk away, that guy did not call in his deer. No fucking way.
Well, and call us ignorant a little bit too, because I've had this compliment or this before of like, how many people are actually going to really register their deer? You're not going to get 100% feedback.
No.
Like, I get it. You're not going to. So maybe we're a little ignorant to think that. But like, I think what you and I see and guys that travel to hunt out of state of Michigan is a little skewed, because when we go there, everything seems so dialed. Like when you go to Iowa, if you go to Missouri, if you go to Ohio or even Illinois, like even though we're kind of shitting on their process, it's pretty dialed actually. It's like, they have things organized. They have a way of doing it. Like, I feel like Michigan is so shooting from the hip at a lot of things that it's like you don't know what you should and shouldn't do. You know how many people still like call me and it's like, oh, do I have to register my deer? Yeah, you do. Like, I actually feel like you don't have to. Like, I don't think it's mandatory, but I do tell people, like, yeah, you do have to register your deer, you know? And we're 3 years into it now?
Yeah.
And I've registered all my deer. But I do kind of forget because it's not like, it's not in your
routine.
head.
It's not a routine yet.
No, it's not. But we need that data.
Yeah.
I think I heard this year too. I think the state of Pennsylvania shot 2 bucks to every, or no, I'm sorry. I think it's 2 does to every buck last year, the whole state. Like, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
You go on our app and see all the deer in the 83 counties of Michigan. There will never be one county that has more bucks harvested than does.
Other way.
Or I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Never. So yeah, what am I talking about? There will never be any more does that were harvested than bucks.
Correct. Yep. And that says everything.
Yeah, and that tells me, as Michigan does not care about their quality of herd. I mean, they do and they don't. They just want deer shot.
Yeah.
That's all. They don't want age structure. They don't want, anything like that. Because if you want age structure, then I think you have to totally change it.
It's a good thing that this is a CWD free zone, because I just baited your ass in here to a political conversation.
You did
so
too.
Bad. And I didn't mean
I'm going to get chastised for it too. It's like, oh, he's got
blame it on me.
I've got my opinion, and if you don't like that, then that's fine. Like, right. I don't love everybody else's opinion either. So
you blame it on me. I'll be the black sheep.
There you go.
Listen, if you knew of a magic genie and you could rub that magic genie's whatever the hell that thing is called, and the genie popped out and you had one wish for deer hunting that you could implement for this season here in Michigan, what would it be?
That's too hard to say.
All right, life.
Well, I'll do deer hunting. Okay. I mean, because life, it might get a little
even bigger.
Well, yeah, it might get bigger. If I could implement it this year, I would implement. Every hunter gets a archery buck tag, and you get a gun buck tag if you want. So you can't shoot 2 bucks with a bow, or you can't shoot 2 bucks with a gun. And I mean, that's my combat, because what I would say is, like, it's a 1 buck. 1 buck throughout the whole state of Michigan, 1 buck. But I know everybody's gonna be like, no, I want. So to kind of deviate, like, you get an archery tag, and you could make it in either sex if you want. 1 archery either sex and 1 gun either sex. And so I'm going to take 2 wishes. I'll take an arm off for another wish. And the other thing is, I want 2 3-day gun seasons.
Love it.
So if I want to change Michigan in, like, quick, it's either, you do 1 buck with a bow, 1 buck with a gun. If you choose to do that, you have to buy those tags separately. And then if you want November 15th still, okay, you get 15, 16, 17. And then there's a week off, and then Thanksgiving, you get another 3-day or 4-day weekend. I'll give you on Thanksgiving, and then gun season's over. And then in December, you can do muzzleloader. No straight wall cartridge. If you get a muzzleloader season.
Love it.
That's what you do.
I would love to break the muzzleloader back out. That thing hasn't left my safe in 3 years.
Yeah.
And I'd love to do it again. It's my own fault, because I'll just take the 450 because it's sitting there ready to go.
I know.
Just me being a lazy ass.
Yeah. I mean, to kind of go back though, if I did have like that, I'd say 1 buck, 1 buck, whole state, whatever weapon you wanted to shoot it with. Keep the gun seasons the first one 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the 4-day weekend or 5-day weekend, whatever it is for Thanksgiving. I think that in turn makes people kill more does. And then I think it will start balancing itself out over the next couple years. And I think by year 3, 4, and 5, you're going to have a better age structure. I'm not saying you're going to have bigger deer because, with we have the soil and the minerals and stuff. They're okay. They're not great. I say you will get bigger deer, but age structure in general, like I think instead of you and I trying to kill 3-year-olds, I would say within the next 5 years, we'd be shooting strictly 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
And the 3-year-olds would be like, you wouldn't even grab the bow for them.
Love it, man.
Personally, I think.
I love it. Have you ever seen an albino deer here?
Not in Michigan. In Wisconsin, I have. Full albino.
I am 99% sure. Fuck that. I'm 100% sure I saw. And the reason I say 100% is because one day on my way back from Hudsonville to my house on 69, I looked over and I was like, that looks like a fucking white deer laying down in the woods, because you can see through the woods now still. Mm-hmm. And but I was going 80 and I was like, maybe not. It was laying down. So the other day I was going the other way, same exact spot, saw 2 total albino. Like they're not what's the other word?
A piebald?
It was not a piebald. These were straight up white, and there was 2 of them. Can you shoot albino deer in Michigan?
I know someone that when we were in, I think we were in high school or college, shot a piebald. But as far as full albino, I really don't know that.
Because they're protected elsewhere, aren't they?
What's that?
They're protected in other states, aren't they?
I think they are protected in a lot of states, I think.
Interesting.
I remember back in 2013, we were in Trempealeau County, Wisconsin. Went in the morning, and as it was getting light, kind of looked down this valley, and I'm like, what the hell? And I was filming. I actually filmed it. It was a buck. It was like a Pope and Young albino buck.
Dude, that's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah.
I would love to see one in the woods.
It was crazy to where like that ain't real. Like that's not and still to this day I'm like, man, did I really see that? Like, but yeah, it was legit. And I had another guy with me. So like he even vouched. He's like, holy shit, that's an albino deer.
Dude, that's amazing. So, you have that footage? Is it already posted somewhere?
I know, because it was like a split second. You could I think our wind was kind of going down this valley, and it was one of those ones where you see him, and then you know how the deer kind of like move their head, like what's it, and then like kind of bolted off. I think I probably got 4 or 5 seconds of video, but you can tell it was for sure a an albino deer.
Dude, that's awesome. Very cool. I don't know anybody else that's ever done that. Very cool.
I don't know where the footage is. Well, I could probably find out, but I don't personally have the footage.
Cool. Dude, I appreciate your time today.
Yeah, anytime, man.
I know it was random.
I like the randomness though, but I mean, the randomness, it really gets a side out of you that like is pent up. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that pent up. Like there's some things, but that's not something I talk about. A lot of that shit I don't talk about on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Because you never know who you're going to offend. Shit. Like it was Easter last weekend. It's like my wife and I were talking. We were like, nowadays you really don't even know who you can say Happy Easter to. Like, isn't that so bizarre?
It's disgusting. I stopped. I shouldn't say I've stopped. I have almost entirely stopped censoring myself, because for lots of things, for just being you and not just be you, first of all. And as far as things that are funny, like funny's funny no matter what your feelings are. If something is objectively funny, whether your feelings are hurt or it's inappropriate is irrelevant. It's objectively funny. And I don't care anymore. Like, I don't care if I'm 44 years old and I laugh at dick jokes or farts. Like, when my kids were making fart noises with their hands the other day, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. My little 6-year-old daughter, who is incredible at making fart noises, that is funny to me. So I've mostly stopped. I will censor myself a little bit at work, but they know who I am. I've been there for 20 years. They know exactly who I am. So they sort of expect that. So I don't know, but I do know what you're talking about, because it hurts my feelings a little bit when I see people like bite their tongue when they really wanted to say something.
Well, and like the Happy Easter stuff, I said it to my close family in like some, and I'm in some group chats, and if somebody hits it out there first, then I'll like chime in. But I'm like, you're not gonna get a Happy Easter from me out of the blue, and it sucks because it's like, you never know who you're gonna offend or like, like it sucks, dude. This world is too damn soft, and try to raise your kids to not be soft, but it's hard to not get sucked into it because it's the world's soft, but I think the world is 10 times more judgmental than they were when we were kids and when we were growing up. The judgmentalness shit around is wild. And like my wife has, so kind of bring it full circle. I know you probably got to get going here.
No.
To bring it full circle, like we started this off by talking about how like I like to coach, softball and baseball. And maybe the reason why I want to do the girls coaching so much is because my daughter, like it's a challenge for me, but my daughter, like I really want to like invest in her and stuff like that. And I think it's fun coaching girls. Like they actually fucking listen to you. They listen, you give me a 9-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl, that girl is going to listen to me way more than that boy will, and like, my wife says to me the other day, she's like, because we were at practice the other day and I was teaching some girls how to hit. Well, a lot of the girls, being 6, 7, and 8, they don't really even know how to stand in the batter's box. And then you kind of like, you tell them and then they don't do it. But then it's like, every time I go to like grab a girl's like arm or like foot, or my wife's like, I hate saying this, but like, you never know. If you grab a girl, what a parent's going to think.
What a shame.
And Brett, every time I teach a girl something, I think about that while I'm in practice. Like, wait, take a step back. Like, and then I'll draw marks in the sand. Here, put this foot here. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this sucks. You know what I mean? And it's not that I'm trying to touch a kid inappropriately. I would never do that,
of course,
but you never know. Like you touch a little kid on the shoulder, but the parent saw a hip touch, and it's like, that scares the shit out of my wife. And she's like, all it takes is one of those, and then the community is against you.
You're ruined for life. It's your word against the community.
You're a red blinking dot on a computer screen. You know what I mean? Like. Scares the shit out of you.
Bless you for doing it, man, because I know what you mean. My wife has said, why won't I coach hockey? And it's not the kids, it's the parents. I don't want to deal with parents. That's the only reason.
Yeah, and it's tough. I got one that's not parent. My parents so far are great. I got one girl that's like says no to everything that we do. I'm like, you're 8 years old. Like, it's a reflection of the parenting that they get. Like, it's like, we finish practice by running the bases properly. Like, this is the stance. There's safety bases at first. There's one that the fielder uses and the one that the runner uses. So I'm teaching them how to run through the base. This one's like, this is how she said it. Dude, I told you I don't run. And I'm like,
you said, dude?
Yeah. She's a dude, I told you I don't run. And then, so she walks from home to first. And then I just have the girls behind her go, pass her, go. I'm not here to, it might be harsh, but I'm not here to appease and wait for you. Like, either you do what I tell you to, or you just don't play.
Yeah. And it's such a weird age because there's not like punishment for little kids. You know what I mean? Like, they're just there to play. And me as a father, I'm a punisher. Like, we punish our daughter. You know what I mean? We discipline them. Yes.
Like, hey, it's not like go sit in the corner and with your nose in the corner. We don't do that. We don't touch her, nothing like that. But it's like, there's a stern talking to, and shit's getting taken away.
Yes.
Like, there's consequences.
Yes, consequences, baby. That's what it's all about.
What a Tuesday we're having.
Hell
here.
yeah.
Or no, Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
It's hump day. Let's go.
It's so much of a hump day that we thought it was Tuesday. Holy shit, we went back in time. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, man. You gave me 90 minutes today, and I sincerely appreciate that. we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, hopefully you don't lose any listeners.
Fuck, I don't have any listeners. We're good, man. Everything I'm doing now from now on is I'm gaining listeners. So
there you go.
Thanks everybody for listening, and we will talk to you all soon.